Ready? Where did Lance go? Okay. We're going to call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Mr. Pollard, would you lead us in the pledge? Look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that will take us to recognitions.
Good afternoon. In March, public schools across the state of Missouri celebrate National School Board Recognition Month. Today, we wanted to take a moment and recognize and thank our Green Valley School Board of Education. These elected individuals are volunteers who dedicate their time and attention to our students, staff, and the community. Today, Dr. Kevin Carroll and Prairie Branch Elementary students are here to honor our Board of Education members.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kevin Carroll, the principal at Prairie Branch, and I have some artists here with me. I have Oliver, Landon, and Kira that came tonight. We had about 7 or 8 students that came, and when we were thinking about a way to provide, our thanks, it was ceramics time during our art program, and I was like, we love ceramics at Prairie Branch. It is a dusty mess, but it is so much fun, and the kids have a blast doing it, and so I thought we would take the opportunity to showcase some of the things we do in our art program, get the kids involved, and then we also have some screen printing that our art teacher did. And so we've made our field day shirts before. She's very creative, and so we have a gift for you guys. And I'll have the kids hand them out. This one is from Williams. I'll give you your dad's too. This is for Schwartz. Go ahead and take it up to him. This one is for, I'll give you the next one. Dr. Taylor. Scully's not here, but, okay. Mr. Porter. You know where this one's going. And so I would ask that because the 5th graders did an amazing job on the artwork, we also collaborated with our gifted program and used a 3D printer to print stands for the art. So you'll have a piece of art that is a original of a student in Green Valley, and you'll have a stand to hold it and also a t-shirt. So I do want to show off the art because that is the piece that I really think made the difference for sure. And so they have plates, they're tiles that they created and developed for you guys. So they had a blast doing it. We got 3D printed stamps that were eagle heads. We glazed them. We made extra because they sometimes will crack, and so we were prepared. But we had fun, and so it is it's a testament to the work that our art department does, the teamwork that we all have where we can call on each other to get something 3D printed from Wendy Davies and the gifted program, and the kids do an awesome job. Oh, Parker was also a part of that as well, so you're good not to just wave. But also the screen printed t-shirts, I want to show those off as well. Our art teacher creates a screen print, and then she goes through and actually pulls the dye through it, and they dry, and so everybody got a Green Valley t-shirt. So a unique thing from Prairie Branch, and we just want to say thank you. But we also have a video of some students that were sharing some insights on what they know and what they think they know about the board and what they do.
What do you think that a school board is?
Something that tells you what you're going to do next. I think it's like something that it's like a big board with like people's pictures on it. It's like a special day for all like the people who want to get off school. So I think it's like a video to teach people the right things, to be kind, for like if we have like another assembly. It's a board where you hang up stuff. I think it's like a board that you can like write on. A picture.
A picture. Cool. What kind of picture do you think a school board is?
Like a family picture.
Like a family picture? Okay. How old do you think people on the school board are?
Like pretty old.
How old do you think someone has to be on the school board?
Probably like 35.
Like 35? That seems like a good number.
Like a 5th grader. I'll say 5th or 6th grade. Probably above 30. Like 10 and up. I buy a card for a school board.
Okay, cool.
A turtle.
You'd buy a turtle? What would be any new rule that you could make?
For like on Fridays for lunchtime, there will be a like pizza, like a pizza day, and then like also you get to bring a stuffy.
Rule would you make?
I would make them do math for the entire day.
I love that. You would make everybody do math all day long.
You can ask if you want sprinkles or ice cream on your donut. Thank you for helping our school. 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 Thank you for helping our school.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. And we'll give you a couple seconds, couple minutes here to get, oh, that was fast. All right. A quick departure. All right. That will take us to patron comments. Any school district patron may present information to the board at this time. Presentations will be limited to no more than 5 minutes. The board will not take action on any issue not included on the published agenda. However, all comments will be taken into consideration by the Board of Education. Patrons are requested not to discuss individual faculty, staff, or students. Patrons are reminded that this is a public forum and comments relative to individuals could result in litigation. However, any patron may request to meet with the board in executive session. No response will be given by the board at this time. We did not have anybody sign up. Did anybody want to speak? Okay. That will take us to reports. We'll start with the superintendent's report.
Yeah, you have updated revenues and expenditures. So far, we're tracking fine on both of those as expected. Our health premiums, there's been no additional supplemental payments since the last time that we reported, so we are on track to stay on budget there. We also have an update this month on our MSIP 6 proportional attendance. The goal is to finish the year at 90% or better, and we did dip a little bit. We're down to 90.147%, and I have a feeling that next time you get that report, you're going to see it even lower. We've had a lot of absences in the last couple of weeks, but overall, we're tracking fine for the year, so hopefully everybody can get recovered and healthy and back to school. Also, we have had the first 2 nights of 3 nights of community engagement with our CSIP planning. So we've had 6 hours in and 3 hours to go. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to get wrapped up in the group's last session, but we do have a preview that there will be recommendations for new vision language, new belief statements, and new 3 to 5 big rocks. So there'll be some revised language on all those things. Next week, they dive into goals and action steps, and they'll be given their recommendations there. They have a lot to cover in one more night, but it has been going very well. There's been lots of good engagement, and the facilitator has an exit ticket for everybody on the way out. And it's what questions do you have, what's working well, and the feedback has been really, really positive. So we're glad to have the community so well represented. We're glad to have our parents and students so well represented in that group. We really fill this room quite well. So we've been really pleased with that so far. I don't know if we necessarily have a lot of additions to the calendar of events. We have it updated through the spring. Well, we did add the Snai Valley graduation listed there for May 14th, and we have the Class of 2026 commencement ceremony, May 18th at Cable Dahmer at 7 p.m. So we've added those to your calendar as well. And we would open up any of the superintendent report for any questions.
All right. Any questions or comments on the report?
One quick question. Last workshop, we had Lockton come in and talk to us about insurance, and seeing the premium chart here is what made me think of it. We had a lot of takeaways from that. I was just curious what the follow-up looks like. Will we be discussing that in another workshop?
Yes, we'll definitely, at this point, we'll continue to do updates. Dr. Gooch represents the school district on that board for SIP-KC, and as he brings back recommendations for them, he'll integrate that in his reporting coming forward. Dr. Gooch, do you have another meeting coming up that you can think of?
Yeah, we do have a meeting coming up in March,
Okay.
and that'll be where I present to the executive board there some of our my first steps of requests.
Yep.
Things that I would like for the group to consider. So yeah, coming up a couple weeks, second week of March. Oh no, excuse me, third week of March after spring break.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions on the main report? No? All right. I'll take us to the interest earned to date.
Yeah, we're going to turn this report over to Dr. Gooch, talk about our interest.
So we typically when Mr. Hooper and myself, we start planning the budget, we kind of have to take what we see historically with various interests. When we take our state payments and other large pieces of revenue for the school district, we kind of have to ballpark an idea of approximately what we expect to earn over on interest. And I will say that this year we proposed, or we budgeted $412,000 in interest, and to date we have actually seen a larger influx of revenue. So to date we've actually experienced $763,000 in revenue, and that's due to just overall interest. We've been able to have good returns on our state payment and stuff that was put in there. And so you're seeing us actually receive more money than we anticipated, which isn't necessarily common right now with revenues. So that's a really good thing for us. And then you can see kind of down below the local tax revenue stuff there, the different maturities that we've had and the estimated earnings from when we started the school year with with some of our deposits, and then other series of different things that will mature between now and July, and just some other expected interest revenue that will generate from that. So that's really it. It's been we've been fortunate.
So the 763,000 doesn't include these other estimated earnings?
That is correct. Because this is what we have earned to date as of January 31st, and then the rest of this is what we will expect to earn between now and July.
All right. Very good. Any questions on?
We'll take it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dr. Gooch. The next item on the agenda will be the impact of the proposed county 2023 and 2024 tax credits and senior tax credits.
So, yeah, we thought this was an important topic, even though this isn't all settled yet. There's been a lot of discussion in the press about the county executive has made several public statements about going back to give credits to any property owner, real property owner, who was assessed more than 15% growth in their 2023 assessment. That would also have implications for the 2024 assessment, because it basically, those assessments didn't change. So what you're looking at the top is that the credits, as they would impact Grain Valley Schools for 2023, would be to the amount of $3.6 million. 2024 would be $3.9 million, for a 2-year total credits of $7.6 million. So this is what we anticipate as the worst case scenario. The county has not really come out with a clear plan on what this would look like. So this would be our worst case. I've heard the county executive say that anyone who has sold their property or has otherwise moved out of the area would not be eligible. If that holds, then this number that actually realized would be smaller for us. This is money that is already spent. This is salaries and benefits from 2023, 2024, and 2025. So this would be money that these would be losses that presumably we would be eligible to file for recoupment. I don't know of a time when Grain Valley Schools has had to file for recoupment, but we have area districts that have, and so that we have some people that are familiar with that. The three of us have been on webinars that have introduced us to it, and Dr. Gooch is familiar with the tools, because when he sets the levies, he sees the places to enter recoupment numbers. We've just never had to enter any recoupment numbers. So we are becoming more familiar with it. We have requested from the county official numbers. We have these calculations. We didn't get these numbers from the county. So we need to know where we stand. We need to know what the process is. What I've also heard the county executive state was that the taxpayer can expect whatever their credit is that they would be due for their 23 taxes plus their 24 taxes, divide that total by 3, and they would get that credit earned towards their tax bill for 2026, 27, and 28. And so that's how we've calculated what our potential impact and shortfall would be as a school district. We would be short basically $2.5 million at worst over the next 3 years. And you cannot, debt service is not eligible for recoupment. So it would just be our operating expenses, our operating levies. So that would be $1.7 million shortfall for budget year 27, 28, and 29 for the tax years previous. So these are worst case scenarios. These are not absolutes. And but it's important for us to have this discussion now, because in the weeks ahead, we're going to be making plans for anticipated revenues, and it's going to be, we're going to have to take these worst case scenarios into account. The other question is, if we are eligible for recoupment, can we realize the recoupment the same year we realize the loss? We assume that we can. And so from that standpoint, if all of these losses for operating are eligible for recoupment, then from operating levy standpoint, there would be zero impact to the budget. So you could see the difference is literally 0 to 1.7 million per year possibility. So again, not absolute, don't want to freak anybody out. In the meantime, we're being very careful and conservative about our planning for any growth for next year. And we've had that conversation with teacher representatives on the Salary and Welfare Committee as well. So that's the tax credits for 23 and 24. Any questions on that before we move on to the next the next item?
As far as the 2-year recoupment eligibility, like, can you give a 10,000-foot view of what that means, like what that is and how it works?
So when Dr. Gooch does calculations on the levy in the summer, in the late summer, that would come before the board in September, the recoupment, I believe, is realized as an so you would know, hey, this is what our levy is going to be for our operating levy for the year. Plus, the actual levy that you implement has a certain amount that is a recoupment levy. So it would be explicit that if not for the recoupment, this is what the levy would be, but because this is a recoupment year, we're going to do this. And you for every year's loss, so for any credits that are given in 2023, and we realize that harm in 2026, we have 3 years to recoup that. So we don't have to recoup it all in once. We don't have to recoup it all in one levy adjustment. We can spread that out over 3 years. So does that actually mean we can recoup it over 4 years, like because it's 2023 and 2024? So we do have questions about how to manage the nuance of that. But to answer your question, the board would just you'd get additional numbers in September, and the ultimate levy would be a larger levy. Setting a higher levy is how you recover that's how you recoup the losses. But we would be explicit with the public about how much was standard levy, how much is recoupment levy. So the translation on that would be everyone in our school district who gets a credit, they would get their credit. But the aggregate is all going to pay a higher levy in order to cover those credits, to make the district whole.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I was trying to make sure of. So the district, if they're eligible to do the recoupment, the levy for the school district would be slightly higher than it would have been, but the other taxing entities might not be eligible for recoupment, so theirs would not go up. Is that what I'm hearing, how that works?
I believe that everyone would be eligible for recoupment.
Everybody is.
So all levies could be dialed up to cover these losses.
Right, your city would be able to do a small recoupment, your
Fire department.
fire protection districts would be libraries and so on. That is correct. So everybody else is looking at these numbers as well. Like as we are getting, we are receiving new aggregate values, so is the city, so is the fire protection district and so on. So everybody's kind of looking to see about, when they set their next levy, how it will dial for them. And the new numbers are all, lower. And so everybody's going to have to kind of determine how to tweak it up just slightly in order to recoup whatever loss of revenue was.
All right. Any other questions on the property tax? No? Okay.
Next up is the impact of assessed valuation cap. that was announced this fall after the school district, after all taxing entities set levies, the county executive announced that he was deciding that they were going to cap commercial property, any commercial property assessed under $5 million whose assessment went higher than 15% increase for 2025, he was imposing a 15% cap. So we anticipate a shortfall of $689,000 as a result of that, because if we'd had that adjusted number, we would have adjusted our levy accordingly. But since our levy was already set on the numbers the county had given us, that one, we kind of got the rug pulled out from under us a little bit. We plan to file for recoupment for this as well. There's no precedent for the actions that the county executive took on this. So there's no law that governs it. There's nothing. So we are going to try to use the tools that we have, but I just want the board to understand there's less certainty with this one. We're less likely because no one in Missouri has been in this situation before. I will tell you that when you did a budget amendment in October, and part of that budget amendment was we dialed back our collections on our local collections. We dialed it back from, it was either 97 or 98%. We might have been at 98%.
Yeah, we usually run right around 97, 98.
And we dialed it back to 95%. That was to take into account the senior tax freeze, which we'll talk about next, but it was also just in anticipation of lower collections. We didn't yet know at that time that this was going to happen, or maybe this was just being rumored to be happening, but we had no number. But we are pretty close to have covered this with the budget amendment that went into place in October, even though we weren't explicitly amending the budget for this account. This was just part of the holistic, we know collections are going to be down for this year, and so we dialed it down to 95%, and it really pulled most of the $689,000 into it. And for school board members, for your packet, which you have in front of you, you see two numbers. You also see $704,000 with a strike through. That was the initial number that we had, and just in the last 24 hours, we got an update with $689,000. So that's why both numbers are in there. If you had read your packet the other day and you were thinking, wait a minute, I don't remember that being 689. I wanted you to affirm you're not crazy, so we just left both numbers in there. Any questions on the impact on that?
One quick question. So we've talked a couple times about recoupment. I understand the concept and how it works. My question is, when you say we're going to file for that, who approves that? Where's that filed to? State?
Yeah, ultimately the state auditor weighs in and authorizes whether or not you are recoupment eligible.
So the state auditor then is the decision maker on that.
And we expect to know soon. Like we don't want to wait until September to be finding out from the state auditor what's going to qualify for recoupment and what isn't. So these will be conversations that are happening in the weeks ahead.
Is it an all or none?
I suspect it'll be the parts. So the tax credits for 23 and 24, I think that's one decision, all or none. And then I think this executive decision on 15% caps on commercial properties will be a separate all or none.
Got it. Thank you.
That's how I feel like that's going to go.
Well, and one other thing the reason why Dr. Willie mentioned we're going to try to do this now instead of waiting for September is we're starting to develop next year's budget. And we need to understand what type of recoupment is possible for us so that we would see that as a potential revenue stream for us, even whatever that number may be, and then we could throw that into the revenue for our budget as well. So we're gonna hope that we can do this for the 2 or the 3 years with the 12 other school districts in the county. Everybody's going to be submitting these things to the state auditor's office. So there's going to be a lot of work that's going to be done for it, but we're all going to hope for it sooner rather than later.
Well, and not just the districts, right? It'll be every.
Well, that's fair. That's true. Yes,
So it's a
correct.
lot.
Yes, you are. It is. Every city, every municipality, and so on in Jackson County, yeah.
All right. Any other questions on that part of it with the tax credits? Okay.
Next up is the impact of the 2025 Senior Property Tax Credit Program. This started out as Missouri Senate Bill 190, so that's mostly what it's been referred to. There was other legislation that had updates that is technically what we're following, but everybody kind of refers to it as Senate Bill 190. And this is eligible homeowners age 62 and older can freeze their real property tax liability on their primary residence. And for 2025, we now know the impact on that was $196,000. Those losses are not eligible for recoupment, and this is probably this number is only going to grow every year. As more people register for it, as more people turn 62, then this will always be a growing shortfall that we'll have moving forward in the budget. But it pales in comparison to the other numbers that we've talked about today.
All right. And so like what time of year do they have to apply for this? Will we know
anybody
when we're
remember
doing
what the-
budgets?
I think,
I don't
now,
remember.
when did we get this number? When did we get confirmation on her 96,000? Because it seems like it was late in the calendar year.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the fall. To be exact, I'm not sure. I could maybe try to look through it, but I mean, I don't know if there is a deadline for the 62 and older adults or not. I just don't remember. I'm sorry.
I know that there is a deadline for the county to notify us of what this number is, and the letter we got was on time, but we got it, it just came later. So it was like November or December when we got our official number this year, and they'll probably get better at it, I would hope, after the first year. But we'll budget in anticipation of an increase of this value each year.
Yeah. Because it's not, they won't have you the number before we have to have our budget done. Yeah.
Dr. Allen just found it. She said June 30th. So yeah, no, we'll have. We're going to present a budget to you guys, in the middle of June. So right before then. So unfortunately, no. But like Dr. Willie said, it will continue to grow. So right now, absorbing $196,000 into the budget is not. It's not awesome, but it's not 7.6 million.
Right.
But, as that grows in, the next few years, yeah, that's going to be one we would love to have a little bit earlier. So we just may have to start looking at historical growth in it. If it's 196 and then in year 2 and year 3, we see 5% growth, and that could just be something we project out.
All right.
So you would still be seeing the revenue from 62 and over, but you just couldn't anticipate that number increasing?
It's just not the growth.
The growth of the number because their taxes are frozen. Do you
Correct.
remember on the demography study, what percentage roughly of the population, so we know what to expect?
Whew, good question. I do not.
It's
I
been
do
like a
remember, and
year,
Dr.
but
Willie can hopefully correct us, but that's one of our larger growing populations. So our number could be healthy enough, but I don't remember. Do you
With
recall?
the
from
zero
demography?
new permits pulled this month, I think some of that could be overcome with new growth at some point in the district, more families, more homes, more, whatever moving in. But I didn't know how closely that would align with the demography study of what percentage of our population and what their estimated taxes are and the estimated loss.
Yeah.
I think it would level off-ish at some point,
Sure.
but to your point, not the anticipated.
No,
growth.
and again, the more years you have where you can see, kind of the repeat, I think it'll allow us the opportunity to project that out better. But, I also feel like if you would have asked me, whenever, right before the demography study, I wouldn't have, just shooting from the hip here, I wouldn't have thought that was our fastest growing population either in this town. So one of those deals, it's a surprise. And yeah, I think eventually we'll know more, but right now it's still unknown.
Hopefully that number keeps getting smaller and smaller. I'm not advocating for continual increases of property value, but I was having this conversation at work today. It's increased valuation is a good thing for your net worth, right? my home is worth more. The problem is you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So if you're not selling your home, then you don't benefit from the increased valuation.
Yeah, it's
So,
kind of a double-edged sword, yeah.
Yeah, it's, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
That number appears to be, just real quick math, so don't write this down, 3,365. Would be 65 and older, or 62 and older. People, not homes, but people.
He's got the demographic.
Is that our study?
Yes,
You have that with you, awesome.
I have
Keep that with you?
committed to memory.
Thank you.
Did you really?
All right. Anything else on the senior property tax credit? All right. That will take us to the state legislative highlights.
I feel like just a lot of good news tonight to deliver. This legislative session is well underway. I think this is maybe week 6 for the state legislature. A record number of bills were filed this year. 3,000 bills were filed. We're coming off of a period where there's just a lot of committees that are meeting, that are processing the bills and before they come out to the floor. So our goal on a monthly basis now through the end of the legislative session in May is just each month to just touch on with the board, give updates on, what's getting a lot of activity at the time that impacts public education. So there are, like I said, there's just so many bills filed this year. There are multiple bills on each of these topics. Open enrollment that impacts public education, expanding the ESA voucher program. There's at least one big literacy bill that's been filed this year. Parents' Bill of Rights. You've maybe read in the press about a MSHA takeover bill that would pull the governing authority of MSHA away from that organization, which is a member organization for Missouri school districts. And then also what's being referred to as an A through F school report card. So lots of bills on that. There's also a lot of bills on property tax reform. So this will impact us because not only is the funding formula for the state level funding for public education being reworked this year with the goal to have a proposal for next December, but the legislature is putting a lot of energy into legislating limits of our, basically the implications would be limiting school districts' ability to generate revenue locally as well. So two bills that are in your packet. One of them is House Bill 2780. This is an omnibus property tax bill. It says a lot of things. It moves school district ballot measures to November from basically the flexibility. We could put a ballot measure on really any election right now, but we would be limited to November and only on even numbered years. So only when there's other major political elections that are happening in November. There is also some confusion about whether or not the language would move school board elections to November, and again, just every other year, possibly with 4-year terms. This bill actually came to the floor, thought it was going to be advanced, but it went back into committee primarily to clarify the November election language. So we expect it to be back. The House came out and is leading with this, so it's really clear their intent is to send something to the Senate related to property tax changes. The main theme on both of these bills is to tie everything into Hancock Amendment. So right now, when Hancock Amendment was drafted, the idea is that taxing entities like school districts would not see a windfall when in years when assessments would go up really high. And so then we were required to kind of do an offsetting lowering of the levy so that by the aggregate we had more predictable funding, but also the property owners would get a break by the rescheduling of that levy. Well, there are some exceptions. Not everything that gets taxed locally goes into the Hancock Amendment. So if you buy a new house and it's new construction, the first year that property is taxed, that doesn't go into the Hancock eligibility. So the reason this is important for growing community like Grain Valley is when we grow year over year, there's other ramifications for that. So we add staff, we add programs, and even though the levy for the aggregate has to be offset so that we don't see a windfall beyond CPI or 5%, whichever is lower, we do get a little bump in new construction. And likewise, if you buy, is it any new vehicle or is it only a new vehicle? Or do you even know? Does anybody know? I know that there are personal property implications as well that don't offset, that don't fall into Hancock. So there's really a broad effort by the Special Committee on Property Tax Reform. There's just a wide theme, and we're just going to want to pay attention to that quite a bit. House Bill 2780, as written, now it's already going to be modified before it gets sent to the Senate, but it would already have a negative impact of $1.1 million if it goes into effect as originally drafted, and that's the equivalent of 17 teaching positions right off the top. So I'm already having conversations with our representatives, and those are good conversations. So I think this is definitely something the House feels strongly about getting over to the Senate. What it actually looks like once it goes through the machine is another story. Again, nothing to get too excited about at this point. It's just definitely we want to monitor through the legislative session what bills about property tax reform are going to grow legs. So those are the two I really wanted to highlight this time around. Any questions on the legislative update?
Dr. Willie, is this something that, I've got a couple meetings set up for the Advocacy Day on this stuff. Is this something that we can go to Tim Taylor on, the sponsor of 2780, and start dealing directly with those people?
Yeah, we could. I think we should also talk to our local reps too.
Correct.
And I think the first legislative day that I know of for you is in a few weeks, I think the timing is right for that, because by then we'll know what exactly has gone to the Senate, and we'll know what Senate committee it's been assigned to, what they've done to it. So we'll be able to really get down to, so we don't have to just talk generally about property tax reform. We can talk specifically about specific bills. But I think you can go to the sponsor. The groups that advise educators about how to make a difference, they suggest we go to our local reps, which makes sense. I mean, that's who I have a rapport with.
Yeah.
But I think we talk to anybody when we go down there.
Yeah, I think some of the intent is right coming out of Jeff City sometimes, but I don't think they understand the implications on a local level, and I just think something needs to be said for that in person.
You know, people are frustrated with what property taxes have done recently, especially in Jackson County. So I think the key is getting a team of elected officials to kind of localize and solve the problem without creating new, bigger problems. So I don't envy them. It's not easy to legislate. But I think we have a role in that too, and I think we have a responsibility. I get asked all the time, can you give me the numbers on the impact? That's what speaks. Like, we can all have opinions, but when we can give them numbers to say, look, as it's written, this is how it's going to impact us in Grain Valley, people listen to that. So that's been my experience.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
I think so.
All right. Any other
Stir it up.
questions or comments on the legislative highlights? All right. Seeing none. That'll take us to the minutes from the February 9th District Finance Committee meeting.
Yeah, we gave this committee a preview of the budget amendment that you have on your agenda later in the agenda.
All right, that looked like that was pretty much the extent of that meeting. And then you discussed a little bit of what we talked about here. So, any questions on those minutes? All right. That will take us to unfinished business. We'll start with, I'd look for a motion to approve the 2026-2027 school district calendar as presented.
So moved?
Second.
All right. Dr. Welly, you want to update where that one's at? It was presented at the last workshop.
Yep, no changes since you saw it at the workshop, so we're ready to move forward with this calendar. We get asked about it a lot, so we're anxious to get it on the website and get it out to the parents.
And like we spoke about at the workshop, really the only change was when the start of school was going to be, just because of how Labor Day falls.
Yeah, so it just feels like a week later than usual, and that kind of compacts first semester. We did tweak a little bit around parent-teacher conferences. Instead of the kids being off Thursday and Friday, coming to school on Monday, and then being off on election day, they're going to be off Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. So it just put it all together. And we'll see how the community responds to that, but it seemed to make more sense.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor of approving the 2026-2027 school district calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I would look for a motion to add a .2 FTE speech language pathologist for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
So moved?
Second.
All right, Dr. Welly, you want to update that one?
Yes, we have an 80% FTE speech language pathologist now that we would like to move immediately to a 100%. So it would go from 4 days a week to 5 days a week, and we'd like to start that right away. And the primary benefit for us is we have so many SLPAs that require a little bit more supervision by an SLP that we feel like this is an affordable way for us to really better serve all of our students and the requirements of our SLPAs.
All right. Any questions or comments on that? All right. All in favor of approving the addition of .2 FTE speech language pathologist for the 2025-2026 school year, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I would look for a motion to add one high school administrative intern in FTE for the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved?
All right. This one also was discussed at the last workshop.
Yes, this was when the board, I believe in January, authorized 2.5 FTEs for next year. We said at that time that's really pretty much all we want to do for next year from a budget impact standpoint. Usually what happens is we do some priority approvals in January, and then by March or April, we're authorizing some other FTEs. So the only reason that we are comfortable bringing you this FTE at this time, because this was the next one on the list for us, is that we have an offsetting position that is going unfilled for next year. So most of the cost for us to move forward with this high school administrative intern is offset from a budget standpoint. And just to explain to folks in the room, this would be roughly half-time assistant principal to high school, roughly half-time activities director. We see it as a way to support both. The high school is where we continue to see the most student growth year over year. And our activities programs, we're very proud to say we are dramatically expanding our offerings and the students who are involved in them. And so both aspects, it's kind of a 2-for-1. We get to support both aspects with one position with minimal impact to the budget. And it also comes at a time when, you know, we kind of, just from a succession planning perspective, if we can get somebody else in helping out on the activities side, that can be help planning for our future there as well.
Very good. Any questions or comments on this motion?
Just reiterate what I said at the last workshop. I have no problem with this and we'll support it. But we're heading into some turbulent times when it comes to funding, so I think we need to be very careful as we add positions.
Yeah, and I would say looking ahead, if what we've shared with you tonight, if it tends to be on the worst case scenario standpoint, and honestly, we don't have any reason to be optimistic about a new funding formula either. So if things are going to be lean for the next 3 years or so, what we're doing tonight, where if you need something new or we're changing how we do things, getting creative about how we shift our resources that's how it's gonna have to be for a lot of things. So it is a good exercise for us to do this, because for every position we add, it impacts our ability to give raises, and we want to make sure that we're staying competitive with our salaries as well.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor of the approval to add one high school administrative intern FTE for the 2026-2027 school year, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Now that will take us to new business. I would look for a motion to approve the amendment to the 2025-2026 budget as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If you can walk us through the budget amendment, Dr. Willie?
Yes, I'll take the lead, and Dr. Gooch will help me with all the hard questions. This is typical time of year for us to do a budget amendment. What this does, it's really a precursor as we look ahead to the final budget amendment at the end of the budget year in June. These are things we already know about that we can clean up now, and it just makes June less complicated. So there's not a lot happening here of great significance. I will highlight the largest item on the revenue side, which Dr. Gooch already reported on tonight, is an increase due to earning more in interest due to higher rates and investments. They took a very conservative approach when they estimated our interest. 6-8 months ago, we thought interest rates were going to start sliding, and they have come down a little bit, but we still are up $378,000, so that's a good thing. Down below, there's no one big thing from a financial standpoint that's of significance, but there's a curious one in here right in the middle. $67,000 was an expenditure due to property taxes on new properties. And if that strikes anybody as odd, it's because school districts don't pay property taxes. But we bought land around Matthews Elementary School in October. And so when we closed on that property, the seller, who was responsible for property taxes, they credit us on the sale price an estimated amount so that we could pay the property taxes that they would have paid at the end of the year. Now, as all good bureaucracies operate, we had to pay for a full 12 months property taxes. So we had to pay property taxes with both us and the county, knowing that we don't pay property taxes. So we paid the full amount, which is $67,000. And this spring, Dr. Gooch will have the luxury of filing with the Board of Equalization to recoup probably 10% of this.
About 2 months worth.
Yeah. So we'll I shouldn't use the word recoupment. That's come off my lips too easy tonight. But we should get a refund or a credit at that time. They can't credit us on the front end, even though we were able to prove who we were. It's just the process. That's just the way it works. So
May is when I have to go before the
okay.
Board of Equalization.
So this brings us to an overall budget shortfall of $91,000, which is about the amount of the 15% cap on commercial property that our dialing back to 95% collections did not cover. So that's basically the difference, and it's nothing we're worried about at this point to be able to do. One of the other reasons why we are at a shortfall is because this year we have spent roughly $400,000 of bond money from the last bond, but we didn't have any bond revenue this year. So we're still spending off of revenue that we recorded in prior years. And so, again, we're not alarmed by the shortfall in $91,000 at this point.
All right, any questions on the budget amendment? Seeing none. I would, all right. All in favor of approving the budget amendment for the 2025-2026 budget, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the amendment is passed. That will take us to the board scholarships.
Yeah, this is the time of year where we generate kind of a subcommittee of 2 to 3 board members to review scholarship applications. They'll be available in the weeks ahead. And this could come back, last year we did this in March. I think it just kind of, I have to check the deadline, but it'd be nice to come back in 3 weeks and have these again. If that doesn't work out, then hopefully the April workshop. So,
Okay.
hate to call a special meeting for this one, but
Yeah,
we'll make it work.
our workshop is actually late
Yeah, we
In
meet in
April.
April. We meet the 3rd week and the 4th
in the
week.
4th week. All right.
Why is there a rush to name?
Why is there?
I just didn't check the deadlines ahead of time. I think we're okay because they don't issue them until later. So April should be good. I'm hoping.
I think we
March.
were just, last year, we just, the applications were in, we had
We did it
everybody,
in March.
and we were able to get it done.
It felt early last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see if
So
we can
we'll-
repeat
We'll
that.
check all the deadlines and when it needs to be done by. But do we have any volunteers from the board to review scholarship applications?
I'll volunteer.
I will. That was fun.
Yep.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right,
We got
Nobody
it.
else wants to do it, Dr. Taylor.
thank you for the volunteers.
I mean,
I
we're
thought
not
it was fun.
stealing it from anybody, are we?
What's
Oh,
that?
I think you guys do a fantastic job.
Okay, I needed to hear that.
I forgot to give you motion language for exec.
Oh,
I think Dr. Taylor has.
Does-
Yeah, motion language for exec.
we're ready.
I make a motion to adjourn and go into executive session as authorized by the provisions of section 610.021, numbers 1, 3, and 13 of the revised statutes of Missouri.
So moved.
Second.
Actually, Dr. Taylor made the motion and
Oh, because she
Sarah
wasn't looking for a motion. Got
will
it, sorry.
do the second. Got it.
Second.
All right. Miss,
Yes.
Mr. English, Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Dr. Taylor, Mr. Williams, Mr. Pollard,
Yes.
and I am a yes. All right, that will adjourn our regular meeting here. Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it.